The 10 Commandments Abbreviated. To suit the sin-loving heart. Memory text. Go you therefore, and teach all nations, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I have commanded you. Matthew 28 verses 19 and 20. If the simple commands of Jesus Christ are disregarded, will that lead to greater disobedience to the gospel of God's salvation? Yes. The simple remedy to avert the final destruction of this present world, Bible prophecy declares, will never be followed. The Church's deviation and outright rebellion against the plain "Thus saith the Lord" is so pronounced, and so ingrained in Christian society, that the whole foundation of prophetic interpretation, established by the great reformers, has been cast away as dung in today's seminaries. Why? Jesuit agents, from the outset of their creation, to counter the Lutheran Reformation, have since infiltrated every church denomination, seminary, university, and government institution. They even sent 2 agents to disrupt my little church and a brother's church some miles away. In each case they were caught red-handed. Jesuits will pretend to be Protestants, join the seminaries, where some become history professors, others ordained as pastors, and still others, heads of religious departments. Their goal from the beginning is to remove the Pope from Bible prophecy. They have been amazed at the ease of their success. This was to be expected. Satan always works on the side of evil, tempting minds to accept those who are inherently evil. Just look at the foolishness dominating society today. Abandoning the reformers has only given Satan more time to destroy the souls of men. It was the Lord's purpose for the Protestant churches to divorce from the sins of Rome. But the divorce was never completed. Thus, the whole system ruling today's Christianity will be swept away one day, just as it was when Judaism reached the pinnacle of apostasy when Jesus lived. Said Jesus with a clarity that cannot be misunderstood. He that is faithful in that which is least is faithful also in much, and in he that is unjust in the least is unjust also in much. If therefore ye have not been faithful in the unrighteous mammon, who will commit to your trust true riches? And if ye have not been faithful in that which is another man's, who shall give you that which is your own? No servant can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one, and love the other, or else he will hold to the one, and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon. And the Pharisees also, who were covetous, heard all these things, and they derided him. And he said unto them, Ye are they, which justify yourselves before men, but God knoweth your hearts, for that which is highly esteemed before men is abomination in the sight of God. Luke 16 verse 10-15. One wrong step usually leads to another, and the steps men take that lead them into sin are rarely retraced. And sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death. James 1 verse 15. This present evil world is winding down. We are in a crescendo to Armageddon, the final battle between the repentant and the unrepentant, which, after the 7 last plagues of Revelation 16, will usher the second advent of Christ the Lord. Today's prophecy gurus are as illiterate to Bible prophecy as were the Jews of Christ's day. And as the prophets of Christ's day led their nation to ruin, so today's prophets will lead the whole world to ruin. Why? Because they all evangelize sin. Nevertheless, to understand Armageddon is simple. Simply ask yourself, which of the 10 Commandments is the whole world united against? There's your Armageddon. Armageddon is about sin, not today's Israel and the Middle East, although Satan will fulfill today's prophetic views as far as God allows. We see them unfolding today, with momentum building to create the illusion that the charlatans were true. This is how it has always played out in history. Satan is the master of mirage. Now we come to the highly renowned movie, The 10 Commandments. This film gave an incomplete, sinful rendering of God's holy law, arrogantly deleting 86 of the 94 words from the Sabbath commandment. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy, honor thy father and thy mother. This was all that was said in the film. When you hear the strong tone of voice ascribed to God, as he transitions from the fourth to the fifth commandment, there is heard no delay to the fifth commandment. This sin blasphemed the God of our salvation. Biblically, it is an abomination in the eyes of God, and paved the way for the continued abbreviation of the most sacred law ever given to men, the law given to save, not condemn, to bless, and preserve our tranquility in life. Virtually every rendering of the Ten Commandments is man's defiant rendition, an assault on the obedience Jesus displayed, even to the death of the cross. Then, there is the very mercy of God, shown repeatedly to Pharaoh. It wasn't given the slightest voice in this movie. Nevertheless, the love seen in the life of Jesus Christ was demonstrated before Pharaoh. Pharaoh was presented with the gospel message. The original request given to Pharaoh was to allow the Hebrews to take a 3 days' journey into the wilderness. 3 times this request was made. Exodus 3 verse 18, 5 verse 3, 8 verse 27. Afterwards the Hebrews would return to serve Pharaoh. This was made perfectly clear. God's intention was not the permanent departure of the Hebrews from Egypt, nor the collapse of the nation and its economy, which would open the door for surrounding nations to invade, to rape and pillage, which was the aftermath from the Exodus. God knew that the surrounding nations would come to rape and pillage what remained of the once dominant nation. God desired that through the witness of the Hebrews to the Egyptian people their nation could be won to the gospel of the kingdom. Matthew 4 verse 23. The Lord always works in mercy, striving for the salvation for all, and not just the few. Even the very first warning God gave to Pharaoh was omitted, of how all of the firstborn would die, of both man and beast. This was given no recognition to honor the great mercy of God, in warning Pharaoh of this judgment at the outset of his sacred calling. 9 plagues had passed, with each one reminding Pharaoh of God's first warning, proving to him that God had the power to fulfill his word. And only when Pharaoh's pride and belligerent spirit had continually refused to allow the Hebrew slaves to worship the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, did the 10th and final plague come to pass. And all the firstborn of Egypt died, including Pharaoh's. In closing, God sternly warned to never add, or take away, from his holy word, for it threatens the souls of men. Deuteronomy 4 verse 2, Revelation 22 verses 18 and 19. But this is precisely what the Church has arrogantly done, being evident by the dozens of Bible translations that both deny and contradict the received text handed down through Lucian of Antioch, and before him, the Apostle John, in Ephesus, who gathered all the sacred manuscripts to one day be used for the King James Bible. In the judgment, the Church will be seen for what they are: wolves in sheep's clothing. And when the final events unfold, many will perish because of them. The average Christian will be deceived by them, just as the Jews in Christ's day. As ancient Israel, Judah, and Judea fell to ruin, an identical outcome awaits today's churches, Catholic and Protestant alike. The churches lead their congregations to follow a tradition of sin. Their theology arrogantly judges how men are to be saved. But the faith of Jesus and the 10 Commandments are kindred, and are crucial to salvation as food, water, and air is to life. Said Job, "Shall any teach God knowledge? Seeing he judgeth those things that are high." Job 21 verse 22. Jesus said it plain enough in his prophecy for our day. "Take heed that no man deceive you. Behold, I come quickly, hold that fast, which thou hast, that no man take thy crown." Matthew 24 verse 4, Revelation 3 verse 11.